Hello again, I'm Melinda Torres, and in this presentation we're going to look at the key components of creating program content. We'll be discussing how to create a proper outline, organizing program content, engagement tactics, how to find valid resources, as well as the basics of designing content effectively. There are a couple important things to remember when it comes to outlines. Every outline should include a title at the top of the page. The title should include the topic plus the word outline. For example, if you're doing a presentation on Step Up, then the title should be Step Up Outline. Your outline will act as your script for your presentation. The outline should be broken up into slide numbers which correspond to the slides on your Prezi presentation. Make sure to include the slide numbers in bold above the content for each slide on your outline. Also, the outline shouldn't simply have the content from the Prezi word for word. Instead, the outline should expand upon what is on the slides and provide extra information which will be presented to the audience. These outlines should be user-friendly. Remember that people other than you will be using these to present the content at some point. Don't simply say something like, "do this activity." Instead, describe what the activity is that should be conducted. As for formatting the outline, make sure to use size 12 Times New Roman font. Use single-space lines. Make sure not to include any images either. The document should be text only. Directly after the title should be a list of all materials necessary for any activities included in the presentation. After the list of materials should be an icebreaker. This may be listed under the Slide 1 section, or the icebreaker can occur before you begin using a Prezi for your presentation. So what do I mean when I say icebreaker? Well, an icebreaker is any activity that can be used to get the audience more engaged. Sometimes this involves getting the audience excited about the topic. Other times, this involves preparing the audience for engaging with sensitive material. One popular icebreaker tactic involves having all the audience members write an interesting fact about themselves on a piece of paper without writing their name. We collect the papers and read a few out loud. Audience members then try to guess whose fact we're reading. For larger audiences, this may not work. Instead, you can do something as simple as asking audience members a question about a general term or concept included in the presentation. Remember that we have prizes such as t-shirts, cups, and other memorabilia that you can give out anytime anyone answers a question correctly or participates meaningfully in any part of the presentation. Throughout the presentation, there should be activities which encourage audience participation. These may involve things like a group discussion, where a prompt or video is shown, then the audience breaks into groups to discuss the content before sharing their opinions. You can also ask questions to the audience as a whole, and have people raise their hands to give answers. This is an excellent opportunity to hand out prizes and get the audience excited about participating. Activities can also be content specific. For example, for a presentation discussing stress, making stress balls and having the audience use them is both engaging and appropriate to the specific content. For a presentation on safe sex practices, an activity could include properly putting condoms on a silicone demonstration penis. At the end of the presentation, make sure to summarize the important content. Always have a question slide after this in order to make sure that all of the audience's questions have been answered. Don't forget to thank the audience for participating, and take advantage of any remaining time at the end of the presentation to promote any current campaigns or upcoming events. While the organization of the content is extremely important, it's just as important to make sure that the content is valid. In order to do this, we must make sure that we're using valid evidence-based resources. All content and information included in presentations should come from evidence-based resources. Almost all .coms do not fall into this category. Use content from .edu and .gov sources. When it comes to most health and drug-related issues, the National Institute of Health (NIH.gov) and the Center for Disease Control (CDC.gov) are two excellent go-to resources. When using Google, at the end of your search include the word site, a colon in either .gov or .edu after this to limit searches to only sources from those domains. Also, remember that the University Library webpage includes the EBSCO database search if you need more specific content or are having trouble finding content online. When it comes to designing content, there are a few simple tips to remember in order to ensure the presentation is user-friendly. First, make sure you can read the font on the background. Don't use a light color font on a light color background or a dark color font on a dark color background. Additionally, make sure to use a consistent color scheme. Limit yourself to 3 colors. When it comes to multimedia, make sure you don't use blurry pictures. Even if you really like a picture, if it isn't crystal clear, don't use it. If it is even a little blurry on a small screen, it will be very blurry on a large projector screen. As for videos, only show as much of the video as necessary to get the point across. Also, Content should never hang over from other slides. Make sure the only content viewable on a slide is content for that slide. In order to do this, make sure that you space your slides out on the Prezi. If you're not quite sure how to use Prezi, don't worry. We've included a tutorial in this module which discusses how to properly design a Prezi presentation. After you watch this tutorial, there will be a quick check quiz. As always, if you don't get all the questions right the first time around, review the material and try again until you complete it. Once you've completed this quick check quiz, the next section on conduct standards and presentation skills will unlock.